Well, I did, but.
All right, now we're getting 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. So, would you lead us in the pledge?
I'd like to. Thank you. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone has an agenda. So we need to make any changes or additions to the agenda. Due down under new business. Brian got some bids for pickups that just came in on Thursday or Friday. We put that in there. And then we got a note from Michael. He needs to put under the county attorney needs to be under there for budget amounts, budget information.
I got a quick bit about county appointed board members and the training process that they can partake in underneath this.
Okay.
Big five.
Didn't have any questions with any pull on that? I will
See you executive session.
on the county road fund eligibility project for the new members. That is the CMAC. It is dust mitigation. It's mag chloride. That's for 10 miles of the Greaves Road. That's
Which road?
Greaves. Those executive session minutes.
You want to just approve it, so
We can make it. Okay.
this chairman's signature on the BLM. That's the stuff Drew's working on.
Yep.
And then the Forest Service has also pushed theirs out for the final review, I think. So
We should be getting that stuff.
mm-hmm.
Review.
Shoot my text last night.
I didn't get your text. I got a message on my phone, but it came in like 5 days after you had sent it. I called you and left you a message last night. I don't know why my phone does that sometimes.
Did I send you a text last night?
I didn't look at it. I look at my text messages at least once a month. I try to do it more often than I have been, but it's not. I'm not very good with the text message. I'm a phone call person. On that meeting location under the consent agenda, is that regarding the meeting in Upton? Okay.
Yes.
Make that one, Susan.
What's that?
You make me nothing.
When is it?
Next meeting?
No.
No.
The second meeting
Second meeting.
in April.
Most likely. I'm there all the time.
So that's the second one in April.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And where is that going to be?
City Hall,
Okay.
Town Hall. Newcastle.
Technically, it's a town, not a city.
And the time it's still going to be the same though, right? Okay.
I could actually, we can read it. I think it's pertinent for people to know.
Well, it's just a blanket resolution. Allows us to do it.
Yeah, that's right. It didn't specify.
Yeah, it doesn't specify
That
actually.
way if you want to do it.
That way, if we do another one, we don't have to do another resolution.
And we'll be able to make sure that it gets out there.
It'd be good for us.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second. Having motion properly second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carried. See. Aaron, would you please mute yourself? We can hear you. Thank you. Okay. Next up is public comment. Have any public comment before the start of the meeting? Okay.
Hi, my name is Stanley Jasinski, taxpayer landowner. Over the last several months, a commissioner on this board has publicly said that I disrupted a public meeting numerous times. They've insinuated that this red statue that was on the agenda was partly due to my supposedly disrupting a public meeting. Now this commissioner better prove the evidence. I'm asking for physical evidence that I did this. It should be easy because all meetings are recorded. And I've disrupted a meeting to the point that it states on this statute, to the point where the meeting was rendered unable to proceed, then you better prove it. You have defamed my character in public. So many of the people that are in this room right here heard it. not just once, but numerous times. You better prove it. I give you 2 weeks to prove it, Commissioner Todd. It's conduct unbecoming of a commissioner. Would you?
Just keep it simple.
Okay. Well, when I'm treated uncivilly, I treat the people treating me that way the same. 2 weeks. They better do it in front of this chamber too.
Do what?
Prove that I did what you said.
Okay, just keep it civil now.
Hey, he asked me a question. Why don't you tell him to have it civil?
I know it's public comment, but
Thank you.
I'd like you to define what I proved, what I said that you said. Prove that I said what you said. What would you like me to prove?
That I did what you said. I disrupted a public meeting to the extent that it was rendered unable to proceed.
That you yelled out during public session that
What?
we'll see you in court. That's what you want me to prove.
I want you to prove what you said.
Which is,
And if I disrupted a meeting, somebody should have been talking. I would have disrupted them to the point that I had to be told to sit down and shut up, right?
whatever. Thanks for your comment.
Is there any other public comment? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on. A little bit ahead, but Linda, you want to do the Friends of the Fair?
Yeah, Nancy didn't make it in yet, but David's here with me.
Can you state your name, please?
Linda Hunt,
Thank you.
I'm here to ask you if we can go ahead and replace the crow's nest in the indoor arena. And here's where we saved all that money that we combined together. By all this donation of labor, equipment, materials, and the pens that we added on. Now, the Friends of the Fair are going to have to add a little bit more money because when we get into things like that, like the stationary crow's nest, we had to redo all the electrical and that sort of thing. And we know we're going to have to do that. So if the stationary crow's nest is done, and that one was used beginning with high school rodeo last year. And the portable crow's nest is being built right now and will be done in here in time for they say, for the high school rodeo this year. And so since this funding was all for crow's nests and the pens, we just want to go ahead and replace that third crow's nest. But we need your permission because it's a stationary object.
Are you asking any funding from the county?
No.
It's all just, okay.
No.
What does the fair board or the fair board think?
They've already voted on it.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to say that.
No.
Hey, where's that other crow's nest at? Is that the racetrack one?
No, it's in the indoor arena.
Oh, indoor arena.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I just hadn't
I'm
seen it
sorry, I
before.
should have called it the Four Seasons.
No, it's
Arena.
okay. I just was trying to figure out which one you're talking about.
I have no problem with it. If it's good with the fair board,
Okay, we just wanted to take it all the steps.
would you like that in a motion and voted, so it's on the record that way, or?
I think we do, because I'm spending funds that we all put together, maybe it would be a good idea.
One of the things we brought in here, it is a permanent structure, it is built into the building. It's just a valuable asset for us to change that out right now, because right now it's just dirty. It's tough to use and all that, and the electrical is really bad, because once you use it, we blow everything on the outside, so.
Steve, would you please state your name for the record?
David Klein.
I'm sorry, David. I apologize.
Linda, what do you have the dates for the high school rodeo this year?
Wait a minute, and I'll get it
Okay.
for you. It's like May 5th or 6th
Yeah,
or something.
May
like
5th or
that.
6th. Okay.
Mother's Day.
Let me look so that I don't misquote anything and give you the exact dates.
This
It
is
is the 5th, 6th, and 7th of May.
Thank you.
Don, you asked about that other crow's nest. I think when we were putting it all together and making the new portable, wasn't there some discussion about just using that new portable over there too, at that racetrack?
I don't remember. I just
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just faintly recalling something like that. Okay.
want us to make a motion.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the fairgrounds replacing the indoor crow's nests.
Second.
We have a motion, probably second, to approve the Friends of the Fair and the Fair Board replacing the indoor announcer's booth at the Four Seasons Arena. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing. This friend for Megan Darnell Megan Stitt reached out to me, and she's the new president of Friends of Fair.
Yes.
And they're kind of working towards a new playground structure maybe out there.
Yes.
And I think they're trying to do it through grants and public donation, I think, to not try to have cost the county money to try to start to get the project going.
Yeah,
I
I've
think it'd be a
been
neat
helping
deal.
with it.
Heavy.
Yeah,
Okay.
and David can tell you the insurance, we have to take out the wood and stuff, and that, we can't have it in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So we just decided to tackle that and,
Yeah, that'd be neat.
okay, thank you.
Any else, anything for Friends of the Fair? Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Lynn.
We are flying through. Does the Fair Board have anybody else showing up, or are you guys ready?
We have one more, but he should be here in a minute.
Okay, we'll just take a short pause until the other member gets here.
Good man, I like him.
How's that? All right,
What I'm doing.
next up is the Fair Board.
You guys go ahead, I don't fit anyways.
You want a chair?
Seriously, I'll stand. That's good.
Yeah, you should be close to it.
Have an exit phone.
All right. Fair Board's up.
Yes. So I understand you've had questions for us. We have some things to share with you, but first I want to offer what questions would you have for us?
Could you identify yourself?
Susan Bridge,
Thank you.
the Fair Board.
Susan, I'll start, I guess. We had a resignation, and I think part of it, and I've discussed it a little bit, but it was maybe over a lack of training, and whether that was on our end or whatever end, I don't know. But I think that was part of the reason. And I was going to go over it later in new business, but I think you're aware of that county appointed board member handbook that you can get online. And there's also a training course if this is an issue. And I would encourage all boards and even this board to take the course. I think everybody would learn something.
Yes, actually, I was elected as Fair Board on the second Monday in February. I contacted the Wyoming Liability Pool and the county. Wyoming, I can't think of the title, I apologize. And they sent me out immediately some information. I forwarded that to the board members, and I now have a meeting with a lady to do that training. So we already have that ball rolling. I can't respond to our board members' letter intimately. I know that she had me look over it before she turned it in, or her resignation letter. But we are moving forward, and we have all discussed putting in a policy so that that is just something that every new board member understands when they are appointed, that they will receive a handbook and the policy book on what's expected of them and what the expectations are of the employees at the fairgrounds.
Very good.
Thank you for doing that, Susan. I feel as a Board of County Commissioners that was our duty to provide that information to you, but thank you for finding that.
Yes, you're welcome. I feel like it's our responsibility too. So to me, I was just moving forward with, I was a freshman member last year. And so looking through what I know I needed in my job, I started looking at how we can find those lacks and fill them in so that we can hand it over to the next person. I train my staff. If I die today at work, they can go do a VIN inspection tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's a training issue, and that's what I wanted to bring to the Fair Board. So.
I would just say, you know that I've been working on the personnel manual and things, and we have a number of boards, and so I mean, in the course of that, I mean, it's been clearly identified that we need to do a better job of just, like you said, board training. So when we have new board members come on board, you know, there perhaps is a little bit of a training session with them to go over kind of the expectations and go through the you know, the policies and the books. And so, and then we talked about just some general training, you know, how to deal with the public, certain expectations that way. And so I think, you know, as you guys move forward, it will be helpful to make sure you have everything in place that you want to have in place, have a procedure that when you get new board members that, you know, there is that orientation and somebody's helping them kind of navigate all those different trainings and things that would be helpful. So I think it's one of those that's been identified as we've gone forward, and hopefully we can put more of a formal procedure in place so that, you know, new board members know what the expectations are and know how to, you know, how a board meeting works and all those things as well. So I think it's one area that we could definitely improve upon, and I think we just need to sit down and create those manuals or those handbooks and make sure all the boards have a routine to go about. And I'm Jeannie Stone with the County Attorney's Office now that I have the camera in front of me. You're probably wondering who I am, but
David Klein.
Thank you.
You know, I agree with the training. We all need the training. But the big thing is we can't delay it. We got to do it ASAP. But I'll tell you right now, Jess was a veteran. She did not quit because of the training. It was not a training issue with her. So just leave it at that. But I do agree with the training. We need to know how to run professional meetings and stuff like that. And even the veteran people needs to be able to sit through that and rehear it over and over again, because it's very important that we do stuff like that correctly.
And I will, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when we get a new board member, we have business every month. We are running a multi-million-dollar facility for the county, and it is important that you understand that the level of business that we handle in every meeting is serious, it's timely, and to know clearly what is expected of each board member and as the board as a whole is really important. I think that sometimes we get so busy with the tasks in front of us that we forget to articulate and stop for a minute and share that information to understand where those lines clearly are.
Can we go into two different matters? It's under the same executive session.
Mm-hmm.
We should. I think we need to then discuss this would be II for employee.
Could you speak louder? I didn't catch that.
Let me figure out where I'm at.
Okay.
Just 405 II. Or exit something.
Make a motion to go into executive session under 16.4.405 AII. Consider the employment, employment, right practice, or dismissal of a public officer, professional person, or employer to hear complaints or charges brought against an employee, professional person, or officer, unless the employee, professional person, or officer requests a public hearing. And also III on matters concerning litigation to which the governing body is a party, or proposed litigation to which the governing body may be a party.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion, proper second, go into executive session under 16-4-405 AII and AIII. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Slip into executive session with the chair of the board.
We will.
Okay, we'll turn back to regular session now. Fairgrounds.
I have the question of, is we would like to restructure back to the way it used to be with one full-time maintenance groundskeeper person and then a half-time office manager. And so from now until July 1st or when we hire that person, we would need additional funding before the budget starts over to be able to just go ahead and hire that way. We can't mess around too long here. We've got some major events coming up and start planning for fair and all that.
Do you know how much?
Pardon me?
Do you know how much?
Absolutely not.
We're gonna sit down and
We
work
just
on
got
that.
this last night, so we don't.
The facility is almost completely booked for the next 3 months. Indoor, outdoor, event center. I mean, it's looking really good and it's exciting. So we may need some assistance to re-evaluate the budget as it stands right now, and then work with Becky and maybe a couple of commissioners is what David, I believe, was saying, is it to work on preparing a proper budget to run this multi-million-dollar facility.
I would still be willing to help during that process to July 1st, but I've got a lot of hours in, and I plan on probably having to do more, just working out there to try to keep it open at times and running. So,
When is your next regular meeting?
It is April, what I tell you, April 13th? Yeah, I think it's April 13th. It's the second Monday of April is our next meeting. We can pull a special meeting to make those decisions, and I think we probably will end up, now that we have some direction, we'll probably do that within the week or the first of next week to move forward.
Could you have something prepared for us for our next meeting?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, that would be helpful.
for your next meeting?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You know, that way, I mean, if it don't work out, it doesn't work out for your time frame, but if it does, that way, it sounds like the sooner that you guys get a go-ahead, it's better, so as soon as we know what we can do on financial and to help, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for the fair board?
Thanks, guys. I think you're doing great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Oh, we're only 15 minutes behind now. Come on, Steve, you're up next.
Oh, Karen's, yeah, we need to send that letter.
Yeah.
Accepting Karen's.
No, that's their job. Oh, okay, that's their job. Hey, you're up, Steve.
Okay, I only have a couple things. I have a proposal from Powder River for the vault issues, the heating and air conditioning. That they say that will fix the problem completely. The only thing they would leave with this proposal, they would leave the old heating and unit upstairs that's in the vault because of, they say 22 below, these heat pumps, it might be hard to keep up. So this unit upstairs, all it would take is, it would be isolated during the summer for our issues that we've had before, but open a couple valves for heat, and it'd be for backup only. And it's for 3 units, all 3.
This would be in all 3 vaults we would have.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk to him some more. We've discussed quite a bit about not putting anything in the basement because it's pretty well, and nobody spends any much time in there, so didn't I visit with you about it? I don't know if there's a need, but they put it as all 3.
And this would take care of the condensation problems in the summertime that you're having with the moisture dripping in there.
And yeah, the moisture and the noise issues that they have upstairs, trying to work in there. And I think you'd have a lot cleaner system. That system up there, I mean, it's air-wise, the air's not. We end up changing filters quite often because of the way it's set up there. Well, look at this one. 2 over here. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just looking where we could pull the money from. Go ahead.
I guess I would agree with you, just looking at the two instead of the one downstairs. Would it be is it necessary to have that air movement down there? And because you don't go down there as much, if there's a problem, is it going to be found? You know what I mean? I mean, if nobody goes down into the vault then there for a couple days and there's a problem with it, with the unit.
These units we have one already in our server room that they put in, 4 or 5 years ago to keep the servers at a constant. And as far as I know, there's never, the only problem you can have, and that's the way this one had to be set up, is for the condensation, the way it's set up, the drain tube had to be run under the floor and over, and and that's only been once. I mean, they're really, your main unit's outside, they run a deal up. I don't know. I'd like, before I'd visit with them some more. I've talked to them quite a bit about it, but they did it this way to cover all three, and and they, like you say, it won't be any problem. They guaranteed no problems of cooling and each vault has its own thermostat, so each floor controls their own.
Is this 3 separate units, or is this like a mini split?
It's a split unit. Yeah, there's 3 units, but the big unit sits outside.
I guess, do we want to reach out back to them and say, what would the price be with just 2 vaults, or do we want to leave this 3 vaults?
I guess, I don't, I just go in there and check things every once in a while. What is your opinion, Becky?
Well, the one downstairs, nobody's really ever down there except when we're cleaning out our stuff. The issue that we really have is she controls the temperature in Susie and I's vault, and it's usually so hot in there in the summertime, and this is going to really help. And her condensation, it'll help.
Because I have no control.
Right.
It doesn't control anything.
That
right.
thermostat
is supposed
just
to, however.
really wonky. But
I finally figured out what to do with stairs.
Oh, okay. But downstairs, we're not down there. If we're going to be down there and it happens to be cold, we'll put on a jacket. Or if it's hot, we just.
My opinion is, and not that they were trying to sell us a third unit.
Well,
but if you can save money by taking that one out.
My thought is that the unit inside, how expensive is that going to be, versus cost versus, having it there just if we need it.
Well, if you have it there and it's running, it's a cost.
Yeah. But go ahead.
This is heating and cooling, so you're talking air temperature, but also moisture in there, correct? Air quality.
The air quality, not so much the moisture, because just like I say, we have one in this server room right here in the hallway, and it's been in, and it was spec'd out for that room. And as far as moisture, that was one of the reasons they went the way they did, because of these servers' moisture, harm that they would do to them. And I've never, you can open that door and look, and it's where the thermostat is set, I've never noticed. And it stays clean.
I would say more than the comfort factor in the vault is probably the documents that we're trying to save. If the vault downstairs doesn't get used that often, and the condensation builds up and it's cold or hot or whatever, anytime you got heat and cold, you're going to have water. So more so the caring for the documents in the vault rather than comfort. Is that the focus?
Well, it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Right now the unit is upstairs in the vault, and the condensation has run some stuff. Anytime you get, like you say in the summer, that water, and with this type of setup, you totally, Because you'd never have to worry about if you used it in the winter for backup heat, you know, you wouldn't have no problem condensation. But you like to say the heat, or I mean the condensation, the noise, and the efficiency of it is, with these guys not being able to really regulate the way it's set up, I mean, that's the three big deals. I mean, you shouldn't have to cover stuff with plastic because of condensation.
Right, I saw that.
And that system is, I don't know what year that system got put in. It's old, you know, and it's not efficient. So,
You know, I never thought like what Garrett brought up there is just air quality in that room to keep the moisture down. And so if you do store stuff in there, you know, I was kind of leaning towards maybe going away from the third unit, but after that side of it, I'm thinking maybe we want to go with the third unit. That way we can take care of what's down there.
We got a lot of money still on general buildings and grounds, major repairs, and I think it's a valid thing that's been fixed for a long time. I'd make a motion that we accept the bid from Powder River Heating and Air Conditioning. A total of $25,825 to furnish and install one carrier ductless H&C split system to serve the three areas in the vault.
Second.
Out of general building and major grounds, major repairs. 100.0026.0621.
You got all those numbers, right? Okay, we had a motion properly seconded to accept the bid from Powder River Heating and Air Conditioning for a one ductless unit outdoors and 3 units for the indoor vaults in the amount of $25,825. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those please say nay. Motion carried.
I just have one. I have the quotes or bids for the concrete work that we need to get done before we get the parking lot fixed and a few other spots that.
Okay. We have 2 estimates here for work to do. One from Hurricane Services to take care of the sidewalks we did the walk around the other day on. The one from Hurricane Services is $22,796. And we have one from Julio Holgan. It's for, what's his business name? Hurricane.
It's
Hercules Concrete.
Yes.
And his is for $12,160. Quite a change in there.
There are some, like on one of them, it does have 6 more feet, I believe, to the curb. I believe that's what it is, but I don't know if that was just a miscalculation, you know, on the, I mean, I was with both guys and I told them what we wanted, both people, and they were, you know, the one thing, the one bid, it says at the bottom, and he talked to me about it, he highly recommended, we're talking this section from the side steps to the elevator door. When they poured these years ago, when they poured the new parts that we have out here, they sloped them down to match up with the old sidewalk. Well, it was mentioned that the person, and this is not in the bids, because I said no. I mean, what we talked about, you know, because it would involve taking out like 8, 9 more feet to make these sidewalks. The part that we want to fix on that section, it won't be above the grass like he said, but it would be higher up. So we'd have to take in it. It would cost more, but I haven't got back with him. I mean, I want you guys to look at these numbers. Both these, I requested it because I requested both of them without no rebar, because on Main Street, that is the state of Wyoming sidewalk, and the spots that we fix, you cannot use rebar. You have to use this this concrete poundage, what I have, or what they have. I talked to the state. So I talked to them, I didn't get a response back on adding rebar for strongman. Yeah, for this or that.
So will this, either one of these estimates will cover all of the broken concrete
That
out
we,
there?
yeah.
That there's not anything left at that point that should be cracked once it's done?
In this part of the, like we walked around.
Yeah.
Right. But one difference is on this one here, he would go up to the side steps and cut around the handrails, because the handrails, and the other one would whack it, or would cut it off, go back a ways. His doesn't include, but we looked at it, so I don't know. Hurricane includes digging this, tearing this wall out we talked about down below at the other parking lot, and just cutting it down a little bit. I visited with him about it, but it's not on there, but he didn't say no problem. You know, he would dig it out and put the gravel, whatever the pavement guys.
Get it ready for the pavement. To get it ready for the pavement.
Yeah, to prep it for so when they come in and pave it. I mean, I can get both use the same cement.
So they're pretty much apple for apple bids.
As far as work, I mean, I don't know.
So my other question is, I'm no concrete expert, but would it be that much more to add rebar and add strength to those sidewalks?
I got hold of him the other day, but he hasn't got back to me.
Well, what's your opinion?
I'm not either, like they say anymore. I don't know. It couldn't be a huge amount, but there's no, I mean, the only place we would do it would be, you know, the sidewalk, because if you did it out here, the cost of you're going to have to drill the other concrete out. I do know that, you know.
The reason why I was asking is because when we had the lift out there to do the courthouse painting, if we would have had, if that was rebarred, I'm wondering if it would have done the same thing.
That was a big machine. And I
Just a good question.
Yeah, I understand, because I've thought about that a lot. But I don't know if that would be.
If it's not a huge expense to add it, and it would add
Yeah,
some
like I
value,
say,
I don't know. Just a question.
I was asked to get it back, but I didn't.
If we do the rebar, I think it'd go raise both of them the same amount. You know, I don't think it's really changed the differential in the bid much, because I mean rebar's rebar. You know, so we could do, if we go, whichever one we go to, we can do that as a change order, just adding the rebar to it.
The biggest expense.
Would you agree? I think it would add some strength.
Oh, I totally agree.
Especially on the sidewalk, I can one on the side one. That way you could drill it and pin it into the existing stuff, so you would not get the shifting.
Because the sidewalks have all these have moved, as everybody has seen. By
I
not using it.
It'd stand a better chance of not shifting from the new concrete to the old concrete.
So I would be keen if we could do that.
But I don't know the cost of, if you guys want it, if you're interested in going back the 6 feet or what is it? I never have measured it to one piece. So instead of where it's going down to match, if we took that out and straightened that so we could raise this, then we'd have to also drop it a little bit going into the elevator. I mean, there's more expense, but I don't know. I didn't ask because I wasn't real sure which way you guys wanted to go.
Garrett, do you have something?
I was considering that the thickness of it, less the curved, is still 4 inches, and I understand like the rebar is going to help from the heaving, you know, from the new to the old, like you were saying, drilling the old. But we're still laying it at 4, and even at 4 inches thick rebar, it's not going to be. It doesn't have the load capacity to pull machines like that up on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to rebar it and think that we can do that in the future.
And
it's still a 4 inch.
And that was one of the things that the engineer at the highway department that I visited with said that was one of the reasons too that they didn't use rebar, because if they didn't get the rebar set in there just right, you know, and that was one, you know, just by saying that, which I guess instead of rebar, use mesh screen. You know, that holds it together pretty. I mean, what little I've done it, that's what I've used, but I don't. It's however you guys would like, or if I can talk to them again.
just doing the math, I think it's 20 more square feet on Hurricane's bid on flat work and another 6 feet on curb.
Okay.
Is the difference.
See, and I seen the curb deal, the 6 feet, but I can't, I don't know where, because we talked about going clear from the building.
Okay. That's for the pleasure. And we all agree that we need to get the concrete work done before we start repairing the parking lot.
Did they both say they could get it done quickly, or?
Well, that was the start of the conversation that this had to be done.
Okay.
We plan on the parking lot between middle of May till June is when he plans on, or the end of May, right in there, to do the parking lot. And I both told them both that this would have to be done well, and they're both their schedules at the time
Okay.
were allowed them to have it done.
I'm guessing just one guy was running a tape measure compared to another guy,
And that's what I really think.
Yeah, as far as flat work, that's a matter of just an extra foot on the whole deal. And I would think if this is a good bid, there's a good chance that if we have to add another 10 or 50 square feet, it certainly appears to be considerably less per square foot.
And I've had Julio get some work out of our place and does excellent work.
I agree. Yeah. Could I say something real quick? No? Okay.
So what's the board's pleasure here?
Make a motion to accept Julio, how would I pronounce it?
Holkin, yeah.
Bid for concrete work around the parking lot in the courthouse area, sidewalks, and the amount of $12,160, and allow that to come out of building and grounds.
I would second that.
Okay. We have a motion properly seconded to accept the bid from Julio Holden for concrete work around the courthouse for the amount of $12,160. There's any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried.
Would you like to check in to kind of back, like we talked?
Yeah.
And then get with you? Or
Yeah.
If it's reasonable, just do it.
Yeah. It might give us a heads up what the cost.
Well, I've looked at it quite a few times since it's been brought up, and there's quite a slope, and it would make, when we did the walk arounds, if he would have said something, I'd have never thought about it. It makes sense. Okay.
Right.
Do we want to move forward with rebar?
Or mesh.
Some sort of, we didn't really make a decision on that.
No, I guess when they get into that, if they kind of give us like a change order, what it costs to put the rebar on where they can and tie it in better. Just give us
I can visit with him. Because I'm sure nothing will happen between now and then your next.
Yeah.
I can have the information by the next meeting because we're coming with the snow and stuff.
Sounds good. Perfect.
So everything covered. Everybody's.
Yep. Thanks for doing that so quick, Steve.
Well, they did good about. Even the head guys called me a couple times. And we discussed it quite a bit, and I think it will please each department, and we'll have a lot better system.
Well, that ball's been a problem. And this one,
Yeah.
it's something that needs to be addressed, and let's get it done and get it over with. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Anybody up there?
Next, we are on to old business. Board of Equalization. What do we want to do? Do we want to move forward with adopting the newest rules, or do we want to?
We should have adopted the rules, but that's my opinion.
The state emergency.
Yeah. We have to adopt the state emergency rules first.
We have a motion.
We better have the motion.
Barry, do you want to do that?
Can I make a motion that we adopt the state's suggested Board of Equalization rules?
Emergency rules.
Emergency rules.
I second that.
Do we have a motion, properly second, to adopt the state's emergency Board of Equalization rules? While we, I guess in the interim, we will do that for the interim while we move forward adopting the updating to the newest rules. Is that okay with the second?
Yes.
Motion maker. Okay. Have a motion on the floor, properly second, to adopt the emergency rules, the Board of Equalization, the state recommended. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. For those, I guess those in the audience and those present, the Board of Equalization is if there is, somebody has discrepancy with their property taxes, they go to Kara over in the assessor's office, and then if there's a problem, then we are the first, I guess, jury to decide where it goes from there.
That's one way to put
That's
it.
just an explanation for everybody. Next up is the live stream discussion. Seems to be working.
Now that is not Zoom, right?
Nope, we're on, this is on Teams meeting platform. Anything else on that?
Barry, did you have anything on the live feed?
Has it been working? The microphones work a lot better.
Everybody's in. End of discussion.
Well, I do have I have a couple questions about it. I still feel like at least one of us should be able to get into this account. I question why Gilbert's on it, why Gilbert gets in charge of this.
Go back to that. This equipment was purchased through the Homeland Security, through Gilbert's office. That's why it was set up that way. Because when it was set up, it came through the Homeland Security.
Is it necessary to keep it that way?
Brittany's been able to get into, she's on the account to get in and sign this in too.
Do you not feel like one of us should be on there? I mean, in case one of them isn't here, like when, you know.
I mean, it's no big deal to me just to get somebody access to it to get signed in. You know.
I guess I feel like it's you know, this is the commissioner's room. That's essentially our commissioner's computer and screen. I also question the security of it. If it should be, or maybe they changed it, I don't know. I guess I was under the assumption that someone was going to come from Rapid and a couple of commissioners could be here to answer questions. We got an email like that from Becky.
Golden West.
Well, Golden West.
They did send out an email and they did offer to come out here. I did notice, and I want to thank whoever worked on this. We don't have 5 microphones up here.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2, and I guess they got it tested, so it appears to be working. But Golden West has not been in the room. They were asked to check the line in and the TV, which checked out. But there were some issues. They said that could be affecting the meeting, but it appears that they've got that kind of sorted out. I don't know what they changed or whatever, but I just noticed we have mics and everybody seems to be happy on the screen.
Well,
But I do agree with you that, you know, it should be, we have had times where Gilbert wasn't here, and we've had times where, you know, we're not tech wizards, none of us are, that I know of.
I think you can have times too where commissioners in here, so maybe you give it to 2 people or whatever.
Yeah.
Figure out how to log in.
Yeah, actually, I'd be, if we had actual people, courthouse employees, that, you know, chances if we had 2 or 3 courthouse employees access to it, that way we wouldn't, they wouldn't all be gone at the same time, so we'd always be able to get in. You know.
You did do the whole, I'm sorry,
Other than remote, they remotely checked it. Golden West did just to check connections and things.
I think Charles still wants to come
Right.
and physically meet with a couple of you guys
I think
to
that
see
would be
what
great.
you guys are wanting him to do.
can you just meet us, come to a board meeting?
Sure. Want him to come to the next one?
Sure, come to the next one.
That would be good.
Actually, yeah. Put him right at the end of the schedule, that way, you know, if he needs to get in and we need to do something, we don't.
And for me, my only issue is just want it to work. I don't care how it works or the means that it works, but it seems to be working at this point. So
I would feel a lot more comfortable if we had
Absolutely.
their techs
I'm fine with that.
here with their hands on and say, okay, you know, they can pretty much give it their blessing at that point rather than, I know there's probably a lot of things that they can do remotely, but there might be a few things, TV setting wise or whatever might need to take place there that they can do hands on.
We'll get whatever works for Charles' schedule, we get him down here, take a look at it. He's waving out there. Okay, anything else for the live stream discussion? Okay, Lena, clerk of district court update.
Good morning. Just have we had a chance to look over the Collins bids for phone systems?
Yeah. The Collins one was lower.
It was.
I guess, do you have any concerns about them, their system working with what you have to work through with the state?
I don't.
Okay, I mean, that was my big concern is
Right.
that it's compatible with everything the state has.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys were looking at it last time. So, you guys need to look at these some more?
I had looked at it.
Yeah. So what do you want to, I mean, her phone system is antique.
Thank you, it is.
And
Just, I
and
tried to
it
call someone.
definitely needs updating. I mean, that's kind of pretty much the last system in the building that hasn't been updated.
What would you take out for this? Same thing.
We'll just take that to the question.
Well, I'm just trying to
It
think.
qualifies when it's repaired, so, on the building.
There was one with parts and labor and one with just labor.
This is the labor, the actual.
485.
The update, but this is what.
Parts and labor is 125.
What's in communications?
Is that correct?
That's a month.
Not that much.
That's the service fee per
That's
month.
service fee.
Right.
What was the one again?
Yeah, parts and labor service fee per month, right?
And the contract should have been right on the cost
Yeah.
of both of those. It was 6,000.
I might have got mine out of order when he gave it to me.
Oh, your page gonna show it right away. That's for clear contract. Yeah.
Wasn't really that big of a deal.
Did you want this one?
The company's good, we got it up there. Collins works good, we have phone systems up there, but they seem to be really good.
Those are what I had. I don't know why they didn't do your shit.
I think it had something to do with that state one. Collins is true.
Been all over together.
And then
Labor of 85.
the parts of the
Is there any labor on there or not? Parts and labor. Does the parts and labor cover the warning?
I'm sorry?
Does that just cover warning?
I can't. Cover what?
Is this just a warranty per month?
No,
That's the monthly fee.
That's
for-
accepted, that's how it's broke out over the time frame of how many months?
That's forever.
That's forever.
Yeah, that'll
So
be
then
forever.
we're-
That's,
Then we're looking at like 6,000 upfront to buy it?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So the parts and labor, that's kind of warranty.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's a service
Yes.
contract, basically.
Yeah, yeah, that's service, yeah.
Okay. So then we're looking,
So do we need to make a decision on the amount plus one of these two?
Correct.
okay. Did you find a
We don't, nobody's seen, it's not in
whole system price?
paperwork.
What were we looking for?
The cost for the whole system.
$6,001.
Yep.
It is in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You find anything that needed correct?
And under clarifications, that's a direct replacement of old phone system using the existing cable. Labor includes programming and customer training.
What was that dollar amount here?
$6,001.
$6,001 even.
$3,001.
Well, that is kind of weird, isn't it?
One. Get that dollar.
So I guess we probably need to break that up into two motions if we do it. One for the equipment, and then the second one for basically the service contract if we're doing parts and labor or just labor.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the contract for the equipment for $6,001. And replaced by Collins Communication. Appropriate.
I second it.
And where we're gonna take it out of.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same one, is that building and ground?
We have a motion, properly seconded, to accept the Collins Communication bid for $6,001 to replace the phone system in the clerk of district court's office. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carried.
The other one was the contract.
The other one is a service contract. We want to
I
do,
assume the other will come out of the budget, right?
do you have room in your budget for that? Close.
I believe I would.
Okay.
For the remainder of
Remainder of
For
this.
the remainder of
And
the
then we'll-
fiscal year, yes.
Okay. Which one would you recommend? I mean, it's your system. You're going to be the one using it.
I don't foresee us dropping them or throwing them across the room. However, things happen. I would feel more comfortable with the parts and the
Okay. So it'd be
Is
10 months.
that I think it'd be 125.
yes.
Is that something that they want
Okay.
annual? Is that something annually that they want, or is that forever? I guess, what's the contract term, do you know?
My impression it is forever. It'll be a monthly cost for the lifetime of Collins.
The system, basically.
An annual preventative maintenance is a monthly.
So basically, if you have a problem, you just call them, they
Yeah,
come.
and it's under that.
What's the board's pleasure?
It doesn't appear it sunsets even. Which is interesting.
How regular is that fee at 1.5?
That's a
It'll be
monthly.
monthly.
Kind of like the same thing we have with Golden Weston, the rest of our system here, it's just it's a monthly service contract.
Guess we can cancel it, right?
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
What do you guys think? Parts and labor or parts? Or labor?
Parts and labor, that's what she requested, so.
Okay.
I'm with it.
Probably ought to have that in motion. Since we're signing a contract.
Out of her budget.
Yep. at this time, she feels she has the budget, and the new budget will be included in there too.
We want to take a stab at it.
I make a motion to accept the Collins Communication Parts and Labor monthly contract with the monies coming out of her budget. How's that?
Of $125.
Of $125, yeah.
Cancelable.
I second that.
Alright,
Sorry, that was winging it.
we have a motion properly seconded to move forward with the service contract with Collins Communications for the phone system in the Clerk of District Court's office for the amount of $125 a month to come out of her current budget. To note, this contract can be canceled. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Well done.
The other thing that we discussed at the last meeting was the purchase of our scanners that were required to work with our new court system. Came out of my budget and depleted it of my supplies. So I'm hoping that we could have that ratified and taken out of the courthouse budget for $1,497.
Do you want to do a resolution to change that amount, get it put back into her budget, but it came out of her line budget versus depleted?
I'm okay with
It would be taken out and, like new equipment. Would that be a thought from the courthouse?
I think that's what's been used in the past.
I think so. I mean, we're basically bought new equipment for our courthouse. We qualify.
And we took it out of your, you used which one?
I used my supply and miscellaneous line
Right.
items.
Is that the 11.003 account, Becky?
It was her 11,000,34. Did she take it all out of supplies?
No.
She split it amongst two accounts. So I'd have to go back and look. It was her supply and the one right above it.
General District Court.
29. Yeah.
So I would make a motion to allow Becky to figure out what amount was removed from General District Court supplies and General District Court miscellaneous, and reimburse that back to the General District Court budget, and the remainder that or the number that Becky comes up with to be pulled out of 100.00.13.0051 for general courthouse new equipment.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded to reimburse the court line items, the district court supplies and district court miscellaneous out of the courthouse new equipment line item for the scanners. And we will allow the clerk to figure out the amount of that. That's prepared for resolution. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Thank you so much.
Question for you, Tina.
Yes.
Do you have any more info as far as the sound up in the courtroom?
No, I have reached out to the, there's a new person with the Supreme Court named Jason. I've reached out to him, and I have not heard back as of yet. Steve is putting some rubber on the door. There's a pretty significant gap in the double doors, so hopefully that will keep some of the reverberation in.
Okay.
I will reach out to him again to see what he thinks about tweaking the treble and bass
Right.
and whatnot. One of the microphones is popping again with B's, D's, and breathy voices. So it's a work in progress.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm still on top of that.
I think there might be a little bit of adjustment there before we consider like sound edging
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
There's,
Yeah.
you said the Supreme Court is the ones that adjust that equalizer,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yep. It's their equipment, so they are in charge of taking my advice. But anyway, thank you. Yes, I will reach out to him again to see what he has in mind.
Thanks, Dean.
Great, thank you, Tina. Next is the quick HR update.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to make a little bit of a statement, so it's going to take a couple minutes. So I'd like you to listen and take what I say very seriously. The handbook will be ready the first part of April. As we said, we're going to have to go over 2 or 3 things with Jeannie and make some decisions as a board before we complete that. Once we make those decisions, then we can approve it. Just as a side note, as I was going through this and thinking about it, I know Nathan, you'd worked with her a little bit on it, and I really didn't know that going in, and I just, as a new board member, it would be very advantageous to probably Garrett and myself and to Dawn, to everybody, if you're doing something like that, to please let us know and give us an update, or like Nathan with BLM Forest Service, because I don't understand it very well. If you're working on things, it'd be great to have an update, so it helps me grow in understanding. Same with Solid Waste District.
Quick comment on that. That was prior to you guys being, I haven't worked on it with her since you guys got in it, but I will.
Right, but I feel like we need to work together on these things, and it helps us to understand what's going on and to learn our jobs better. So, while Jeannie and I were reviewing the handbook, I'm going to read this because it's important enough to me that I didn't want to leave anything out. Okay. While Jeannie and I were reviewing the handbook and making updates, she talked with elected officials and department heads, and at different times Nathan, Dawn, and myself. She also contacted other counties to compare procedures to ensure that we're covering everything needed, and she had discussions with LGLP regarding additional suggestions and proofreading. I told Jeannie that I had truly questioned the time it had taken to complete this undertaking. Now that I've been involved, I understand the many challenges she's been faced with. Through this process, issues have come into question, and it's very clear that our struggles with human resources and employee procedures is far from being over. Historically, the tasks of human resources and personnel functions were passed on to the county clerk's office by the county commissioners. This is not unusual. Several counties choose not to have an actual human resources department and continue to do the same. Nevertheless, our world has changed a great deal since the first decision was made, and as time passed, important steps towards having consistent employee procedures and a liability-free workplace has been completely ignored. Here is our reality. All the employees of the county are ultimately the responsibility of the county commissioners. Even the employees hired by the individual elected officials, all are employed by Weston County. And we as the commissioners are the representatives of the county's people and the county's management. The problems and issues we see rearing their heads now are a product of the out-of-sight, out-of-mind attitude that comes from delegating tasks to others and assuming things are done properly with no oversight. This is not a criticism of our current county clerk's office in any way. This was going on long before Becky became a county clerk. In fairness to Becky and her office, she has been put in a position of taking care of personnel and human resources with no solid base to build on, no accountability or tracking, and no training or consistent procedures to follow. And to be fair to past and present commissioners, Unless you have done research and or have training in human resources, you probably have little understanding regarding many of the issues we face and that we need to have more oversight and management. Unfortunately, county employees have suffered from these past decisions of commissioners to simply turn a blind eye and do nothing. The elected officials or department heads can change every 4 years with the election cycle, and the clerk's office employee assigned to do payroll and benefits can change literally at the drop of a hat, leaving our employees with no consistent guidance concerning procedures, personnel issues, benefits, etc. Department heads that are possibly new to their position and their employees, new and old, end up trying to help each other understand policy, which is inconsistent at best, and the result has been many unnecessary misunderstandings. Currently, there are no mandatory or set trainings offered by the county for current employees, new hires, or board members that we as commissioners appoint. Ongoing training would not only benefit our employees and board members, but it would be essential in protecting the county from liability issues that could certainly be a financial burden to all. Training to help our employees grow, such as better customer service, managing your benefits, interpersonal communications, etc., should also be an option. We should want to give our employees opportunities to understand and grow in their positions, which could be an incentive to stay in those positions longer, giving us a much more stable workforce. Our employees must have a neutral party to go to if they are having an issue with their supervisor, a coworker, or if they are struggling with a personal issue and need assistance with benefits, family medical leave, etc. As it stands now, and it has been for years, employees are forced to go to whom they may consider a coworker to get advice or help, so some of the time they just don't ask. Through the years, this has added to those misunderstandings and to the continued inconsistencies. I'm certain it has been a reason for losing some good people in the past and will continue to do so if not corrected. It continues also to add the risk of lawsuits and county liability. Our employees need to know we value the jobs they do and that we care about the workplace they've been hired into. Expecting them to find their own way in understanding policy, procedure, benefits, etc., and seemingly not caring if they grow in their positions is unprofessional to say the least. Making it difficult or uncomfortable for them to ask for help when needed should be an embarrassment for us as commissioners, not for our employees. A workplace with a reputation for appreciating its people and doing its business in the most professional way possible also has a much better chance of hiring top recruits when needed. We all know that if we don't face these issues now and take care of them, we will face them in the future with what could be dire consequences. We must do the work required to make our human resources and personnel procedures consistent, professional, and lawful, which in turn would be something our employees could trust and count on and be proud of. The issues mount as you begin to discuss them and start looking for solutions. It will take a great deal of time and dedication and will require someone with a strong understanding of employment law, procedures, training, and strong communication skills. That being said, at this time I would like to make a motion to immediately remove all functions of human resources and personnel procedures from the county's clerk's office and allocate those responsibilities to the county attorney's office. This would be a temporary arrangement as we as commissioners then go forward to begin the process of creating a new position of human resources manager, possibly new human resources manager / commissioner's assistant. My recommendation is that this be a salaried position with the requirement of a degree in human resources, a legal degree, or related experience that would satisfy the requirement of this education. Thank you.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay. Having a motion properly seconded to add a HR position and possibly a assistant position with prescribed requirements. Is there any discussion?
Okay, can I have a phrase in a second?
Yes.
I was under the understanding it was moving it under the county attorney's, or is it all above the same
To
motion?
move, that's all the same motion, to take it away from county attorney, or the county clerk's office, put it temporarily into the attorney's office while we do our job description and find a suitable candidate.
Question for Michael: Is that an appropriate place for this to be temporarily?
Yeah, if it's temporary, I mean, you have the statute 183402F, where it talks about like the catch-all provision for the county. You guys, the board determines what the clerk has to do in addition to her statutorily mandated funds, so functions. So that's a decision on you guys. I mean, if it's a temporary position, we are willing to help out if that is your ultimate decision.
On the discussion side of it, I got to sit in with Jeannie and Veer on some of the things, and I was kind of blown away myself on things that I had no idea. We do kind of seem to be scattered in a lot of areas, and so I would also support that motion.
Is there any possibility of a conflict of interest, and how would you figure that out?
There could be, and Jeannie can chime in on anything too, but there could be like that. Most of it would be, I think, out of our office, and if there would be a conflict, I believe now that you have that employer's counsel retained, that would be a resource. I don't know if, Jeannie, you have any other ideas on any resources, but
I mean, there potentially could be a conflict if there was an employee issue that involved our office and, where they would go. But I think overall, just serving the function that an HR position would do, if there's conflict or issues, they certainly could contact our office and we could set up the process. So I think on a short-term basis, it'll be helpful. And going through the manual and doing the different things, I know, in the initial draft I gave you guys in November, it had a lot of legal stuff in there, like the American with Disabilities Act and the Family Medical Leave Act and things like that. And those are things that I think if you guys were to create a position, that person needs to be well versed in, all of that, and needs really great people skills. And there's going to be a lot of work for that position. I think initially just to make sure that the handbook and the board trainings and all the different aspects that need to happen, evaluations with employees if you guys choose to do that. So I guess to make a long story short, I think on a temporary basis at least it would work fine. And if there was some kind of conflict where, as an employee within our department or something, I think we could work that out and farm it out. So.
yeah, not just the employer's counsel, we'd obviously have to ask another county attorney to do something.
Okay. I have some concerns. The way that motion was stated is basically putting a new position on. We're having trouble filling a maintenance position here in the courthouse. The way this motion was stated, that we'll have to hire another, basically make a position and hire somebody. If that position isn't filled, we have, in this motion, we have no salary range. Nothing. It's such an open-ended motion. I have a problem with that on that side of it. If we don't get anybody to fill that position, then where does it go? Does it stay in the county attorney's office, or where does it go from there? That's a concern I have with the way this motion was made. I mean,
I wonder if the motion maker would be opposed to a friendly amendment and we set up a workshop. We go ahead and allow the movement of the HR into the county attorney's office and set up a workshop to discuss a future county commissioner meeting with our attorney present, hopefully, or Michael. The establishment of that position.
I would be agreeable to that, and that's why I didn't go into more detail, because I felt like that should all become our decision as a board.
For another position, now we're going to be talking wages, or salary, or benefits. and we're gonna have to figure out what range that we're gonna pay, you know.
And it's going to have to be a decent salary, but we have to look at the other side of it. One trip to court could pay for a whole lot of years of a human resources person.
Go ahead, Don.
I think we talked about it before as a board, getting a person for HR, so I think, yeah, I mean, it's something that has come up in the past, but maybe, you know, it seems reasonable and it's time to do.
So when do you think this workshop might happen? Because obviously I should be here to make sure. So
That's something we'd have to work with your schedule.
Yeah.
To try to get that done. You know, I guess another concern I have with that, yeah, I can see that if we do this position, that person will be very busy for 6-8 months, a year maybe.
I'm going to say 2 to 3 years.
But then after that, when everything's in place, how are we going to be able to justify that position and the wages?
I think that's where she brought in the commissioner's assistant part, where they can be involved with that. In some counties, she was showing me that assistant does the agenda, processes and vets the people that get on the agenda and puts that forward. I don't know, but that's the suggestion she had brought, which I think is a good one.
Writes letters, you know, those.
Answers things and that.
It can also help with PR, websites, things like that.
So this would be part of that position's job title?
At some point.
It would be our decision. We'd have to talk about that, how we want to go with that, our job description.
Call for the question.
Okay. We have a motion with a friendly amendment. The amendment would be just to move the HR responsibilities from Becky's clerk's office to the county attorney's office. That's the amendment with the motion and the amendment. Am I correct? Okay.
is that going to be temporary?
Temporary basis, yeah.
Michael's scared.
No, I want to make it clear.
I want to create an animal we ain't going to be able to pay. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Thank you.
So
And now
we
the
have
position's
HR
over, so you can
questions.
rest.
We'll direct them towards-
Temporary.
With that, can we try to figure out a workshop time or date? How far out do you know, Michael, on your?
I mean, I can do it even at the next meeting that afternoon.
We were talking about Jeannie coming to our next meeting, possibly having a workshop to discuss these changes in the handbook so we can get that done. And so maybe that would be a perfect time for us to go over this also.
So we have a workshop scheduled for the HR. We have to add, on the agenda, we have to advertise that as basically a HR workshop for us.
Before that, whenever, after the regular.
That's the conclusion of our meeting.
That works for you? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we got that handled then. Anything else on HR? Hearing none, we will move on to move on to the new business. Do I have Ryan outside?
I got the bid from the Chevy garage for the new trucks. $57,122 per truck. There would be, we don't have the fleet discount yet. We won't know what that is, or GM won't know what that is until May 1st. I think when there's a narrow window to order in May to get that that discount. But last time we bought in 20, when we bought the 20s, that was about $4,500. He doesn't believe it'll be more than that. Could be less, but it's in that range. So at $4,500, that comes up to about 18. So on a 4-truck purchase.
Yeah, around 52.8.
Yeah, and then the builds on those, we got rough numbers because these would be for 24s, so we don't know exactly what that 24 looks like. Last time we paid about $18,000 a build. It looks like it's going to be in that range.
That's on top of where.
On top of this, that's all the law enforcement bill. Lights, radios.
Law enforcement package.
Right. And then, and I look back at the 20s that you guys purchased. That came out of the depreciation. Yeah,
We did.
in the 20s that we got came out of depreciation. The Tahoe, we funded another way.
We got the depreciation of 100,000. That's the money that was sort of.
Hey Brian, are you? I mean, you need these 4 now, like immediately, or could we do something like a 2 now and 2 next year?
We could do that. Yeah.
Which would obviously, I mean, it's a big
you can tell by
I don't want to hold you up either.
Maintenance line item. They are costing us money.
Right. I mean, you could pick the 2 best ones or the worst ones and trade them out, and then next year we plan on putting it in for next year. You know, not holding it off for years. What I'm saying.
Yeah. Now, with that said, these prices would change.
Well, yeah.
For that fleet type order.
Okay. Would you be opposed to that?
No.
They have to have it by May.
Yeah. So they closed that window. Used to, it was a 2-month window, and it looks like it's the 1st through the 20th for general hauls.
When would these be showing up and we have to pay for them?
Probably fall.
Fall.
Late summer, early fall.
So we carry over this money into our next budget, and then
Do all 4.
Yeah. And I didn't say that. I apologize. We wouldn't order until May. Get that price.
so basically we could take the 100,000 out of this year's budget, carry it over for next year, and then pull the other out of the next budget.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just.
That's a good idea.
We planned for this, but we've maybe not planned enough.
Well, it's been tight too. I mean,
Yeah.
so we've kind of worked around that. You know, we're running a couple trucks way up on the end, but they're good trucks. We put a motor in one, or actually 2 now, a couple transmissions. But that part gets extremely expensive now too.
I'm sorry, I forgot that. So the old ones would be traded in, or would we keep these vehicles?
That's your pleasure. Normally we keep for road and bridge, for whatever,
mallow, we have
whatever.
some that needed switched out, maybe.
So
time to do it.
typically when we try to go down with a trade, they're
Yeah.
usually better served for.
Remember in the past, we've reached out to the other boards to see, or in the courthouse, if there was somebody that needed them.
Exactly. We typically talk to Mallow, Fairgrounds. I think one of the Tahoes went to the assessor's office, you know, those kind of
I don't know
things.
where Steve's truck's at, but maybe that one's going to have one too.
And then the rest usually go to the road and bridge.
Okay. So, what's the pleasure? We want to give Brian the go ahead to pull the trigger and
It'll be out of this account right here.
126.
Right there, general there's 100,000 set aside. So what we would do is
What I'll do too, to go to that point, is I'll confirm delivery with them before I tell them to go.
okay.
So we don't get ourselves ahead of the game here. And then I can't remember if we paid anything up front. I don't think we did.
I don't think we put money down on it. It was
No, I don't think we did.
payment on delivery.
But I will confirm delivery.
Basically, what we do is in order, we move this forward in the next budget cycle, and then reallocate another 100,000 or 130
Off the new budget.
whatever.
Plus those bills.
Plus the,
So I'll make a motion to accept this bid from Newcastle Motors, and we'll push forward the money out of 100.00200126 to the next year's budget and allocate that towards paying for those trucks. Is that right?
Okay, I have a second. Been motion properly seconded to authorize Sheriff Coburn to move forward with accepting the bid with Newcastle Motors in the amount of $228,488 for 4 new pickups. We will carry $100,000 forward out of this year's budget, out of the depreciation schedule, the depreciation account, and then pull the rest of it out of next year's budget.
one quick friendly amendment to that, it would be contingent upon delivery being after July.
Take it second. Okay. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Also, I think Brian was going to give us a little update on this
Yeah.
meeting with the chiefs.
So, met with both chiefs once, and then the Newcastle chief the second time. He indicated that they wanted to, one way or the other, end up with one dispatch. His, he told me he would entertain us giving our equipment to Newcastle and have the dispatch in the city building. I said, absolutely not, for lots of reasons. But there's a lot of reasons not to. I mean, the infrastructure's in our building. So even if they were to do that, all the infrastructure's in the building. We've seen what it's been like to get them the infrastructure that they want to get by with. The other issue is I have to serve every citizen in this county. Every citizen, whether they live in Newcastle or out of the, they do not have to answer to this folks. The other concern, talking to some other sheriffs and municipalities is you don't know how long the police department's going to be here. They could be here forever, or they could decide to shut their doors one day. We came close, I think, recently. So I told him that's probably off the table. I'll chew on some of those ideas. His biggest hang-up was the staff. That he would have to do something with his current dispatchers. I assured him that we would absolutely interview those dispatchers and make them a priority on hiring them. But I'm not going to just hand over that kind of equipment and put in a city dispatch. But I do believe, with all that said, it was very amicable. He truly believes we just need one. We're working that.
I don't think that's ever been an issue. Everybody believes we should have one dispatch. The problem, everyone thinks it's just about that, and my feeling is that do you feel they're not? So they're still wanting total control of it.
Absolutely.
Which is the problem, that we have several entities, and all that we're asking for is equal control throughout the entities.
Yeah,
until we can come to that agreement, my personal belief is that
he is at least currently doesn't like the idea of a joint power. think we'll either end up the sheriff's office run it, maybe do an advisory board, and then I'll continue to work towards the joint powers board.
How's the move out going?
Really well. We started some minor stuff in the where the server room is. The electrician's down there doing a little work. Hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, we can start on a little bit of moving some walls and stuff like that. I think, and I'll know tomorrow because that's when we have our update with Motorola, but I think most all of our equipment is actually in. So, elevators coming along. A lot of the mechanicals installed. The car itself's not in there. If you guys get a chance to check that out, it's pretty cool. It's a neat system. It's not what I expected, but that's coming along. So, and just so you know, for dispatch purposes and such, the electrical in that building, as we've discussed before, is scary bad. So when I brought the electricians in to work on that server room, we got rid of the extra boxes and all the garbage that's down there, and we're going to put a separate sub-panel in to run that system. And that was the other thing I discussed with the chief too, is they don't even have any kind of backup power or anything like that in place. They don't have any backup. We do. We got backup right here in this building. If that building has to go down, we got backup power. We're set. So, but anyway, so we're going to start on the electrical issues a little bit at a time here, and that's one of those, so we can isolate that.
I thought they were, any dispatch, isn't it required to have backup power?
Sure it is. I don't guess it's required by statute necessarily, but I think anytime you look for grant funding or something like that, yes.
Okay. Anybody else in this, Brian?
No, thank you.
Nope.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
We had one other thing under new business with Michael.
Yeah.
What? Oh, quick too, but Michael, help play Michael.
I'm not. Hey, this is just informational. Jeannie and I have an opportunity to go to a prosecuting sexual assault training from the 11th to the 14th down in Atlanta. We found funding, she's getting funding through Crook County, and I have funding through the Prosecutors Association, which she got too. It's a scholarship. So it's they provide $2,500, and the rest will be it'll be a little over, but the rest will be out of the line item for the. Thank you for the training and schooling.
I think that's good. Further your education on it.
So the reason I just want to bring this up to you guys is because it's a reimbursement thing from Prosecuting Association, the Prosecuting Association. So when you see that bill being charged right now, don't just come scream at me because it will be reimbursed.
If you go over budget, then you reimburse.
Yeah. Okay. So just want to let you guys know so you didn't think something fishy is going on here.
Okay.
I'm doing something stupid. So.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks for the heads up so we don't scream at you. All right. Anything else for Michael on that?
That's it.
Nate.
So, last meeting we had some conversation about training, and I really encourage. I went on to the University of Wyoming Extension Service and found that there's a lot of stuff out there, including I went and printed this handbook out that's basically for board-appointed members within a county, and there's a training session you can take even that is free, and then it followed by a quiz, like a 100-question quiz. It took several hours for me to take it, but I learned things, and I think if anybody's interested, it was a good little deal for 3 hours to learn something. And I would encourage any board member that we have in the county that this kind of accompanies something like that for them. It's good. There's free access to that stuff out there.
there a link or?
Yeah, it's the University of Wyoming Extension. It's the county appointed board member training. There is a link. I don't know off the top of my head. I can look it up.
Is this something that we could maybe, I don't know, send a letter out or emails out to board members suggesting or just letting them know about it and suggesting that they take it?
I think it'd be good to reach out to the boards and say, hey, this is some training that's available. You know, we encourage you to take it. You know, participate in it.
Yeah, and it's absolutely free. You get 100 questions. It took me an hour to watch the videos and read the stuff, and then it was probably an hour and a half it took me on the quiz, and it's all online, and I think everybody could learn something from it.
And perhaps with the letter, maybe with the encouragement to take it, maybe if they, let us know they've taken it, so we can put a note in the file that they've taken it, that they've taken it, then we kind of know.
We could provide each board with a copy of that, and then they can make copies for each of their members.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Anything to encourage it, I think.
And we can't force the boards to do it, but we can recommend it and encourage it strongly.
I'd be willing to take that on if you guys want me to. Part of what I need to do too is I need to identify all the boards that you guys have, so it'd be kind of a double duty for me because it's with the handbook piece of it. And we talked about some board training specific, other board training. So, okay, I can get with Becky and get that list, and then if you guys want me to, I can send out the link and encourage them to do that.
That's good. Great. Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, last thing, I just want to put on the record, I was unaware of it and didn't ask for it or expect it, but I do want to thank the Republican Party. I understand last week they did a resolution of acknowledgement, and I want to thank them for doing that. It's appreciated. Like I said, very unexpected, and I'm grateful.
Anything else that come good to the board?
I'm Jeannie Whalen, and I understand Joe Barron volunteered me to appear before you a couple weeks ago. He didn't tell me I was coming at all. So I just want to introduce myself and give you my card. I will be working with Drew.
Yep.
She'll be doing more of the state, the federal stuff, and what my duty will be is to reach out to the people in this county. So I just need a couple things. I'm going to check your website and see what you have. Did you guys do a 30 by 30 resolution? Okay, I need to see that. I'd like to have that. And I can get on and get your natural resource plans. You guys did that.
Yep.
And then one other thing that I need is like the county map, so I can see how much is federal land and how much is, how that's broken down. And the other thing is we'll have meetings here. So we got to have listening sessions to find out what people are doing. You want one? Oh, okay. So, like we are free places to meet. Is there a room here, or where do you guys usually have your meeting rooms? And so I just kind of need the basics of, if we're going to have them down here, which I'm going to definitely address, the Forest Service does. And then, where those places would be. So I'm just kind of giving some idea.
The Pinnacle Bank is free.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do they have internet capability?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the library is free. Okay. I don't know about after hours, how that works.
Yeah,
The library meeting room is $5, just so you know.
Okay. Well, I could get with you as we get closer. Now, I think if the weather's decent, I'll go to the county's meeting tomorrow, and that's in Rapid City. Drew's coming over from Lander, And it's not always commissioners there. Sometimes they have their leading past board. Sometimes they have their conservation district person. But there is somebody from each county that is listening to what's going on and bringing back that information to each county. And as part of my contract, I will do that. I have not heard about FNRPA funds yet, so I'm doing this for exploring. I'm doing it to get information is what I'm doing. And the same with the meeting tomorrow. I am meeting with Dick Terry at 1 o'clock today to kind of get some more information there. But I am, you got my email. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, I will do probably Cook County. They're requiring. We have our meetings were 2 days. Were Tuesday and Wednesday, and that Wednesday afternoon was always when the federal agencies came in and the state agencies, and they are requiring that I appear for that. Now, whether that would be perfect or show up, and I certainly will have a written one for you. I may just come by sometime for your meetings. Now, does Duke appear every month?
No.
Okay.
It's on kind of, she gets, when she has updates for us, she lets us know. Either she phones in or sometimes she's on the
Okay.
live.
I'll probably do like that one when she's doing it. So this meeting tomorrow, we had heard that the Forest Service was going to open this up, open the assessment up, and none of the counties want this because it is so flawed. We have a new forest supervisor, so I'm really interested to see what this one is planning on doing, where we're at in the steps. Everything's just on hold. So hopefully we'll know something tomorrow. So that's all I had.
I was just wondering that, I don't want to step on the Fair Board's toes, but that building out there,
I wonder
could that be used after?
I don't
If it
know
has internet in it.
if the county is allowed to use it for free, or I'd have to look into that.
Somewhere to negotiate with.
Alright.
That'd be another place we can do that.
Okay.
Event center at the fairgrounds. Well, it's good to put a name to a face or a face to a name now, Jeannie.
It does. It does.
I apologize for not knowing.
Well, I don't think we've ever met,
No.
but I've talked to you before about
Yeah.
regional garbage. I have to pick your brain when you're done here. Oh, that's
Okay.
great.
Anything else from the board? Public comment, the board.
Public comment.
We have that first.
I know, and it happened after that. And it's not a big deal.
Well, okay.
Okay. Walter Sprague, I'm just making a comment as an individual right now. One is positive, so not everything that comes out of my mouth is negative. The decision on the concrete work, I think that was well done. I just wanted to make a comment that I have seen Hercules work on 3 separate occasions, and they do excellent work. He really pays good attention to details, and some of that stuff was pretty complicated that he was doing just right next door to where I live. And it was just beautiful, and he covered everything up when it started snowing, protecting what his work that he was doing, so I think he made a good decision there. I just wanted to also make a mention about the live streaming stuff. I don't know if there's a bandwidth problem that you're having, or if you only have so many viewers that can come in or whatever, but I only saw 5 people there, and I would get as much as 9 people on my live stream. And a couple of them said, yours is not working for them. Whether it's just not working for them, or I don't know. So I don't know what the situation on that is. Maybe they just don't know where your streaming platform is, and that information may need to be just gotten out there a little bit more. Maybe they're still looking for it on Zoom or whatever. But anyway, I did get that comment, and I wanted to make that let you guys know about that too. Okay?
Yeah.
Hey, Walter, I think that's great because you probably have a better platform than what we can provide.
I'm on Facebook
So,
Live.
yeah, I mean, you actually can pan to people talking.
Yes.
And so that may be part of it too.
And there is going to be upgrades on that, which they should be coming here this week. I was hoping to be here for this, but.
William?
Thank you.
here today, just Citizen Curley, and it's extremely brief point. I just want to put it out there for the board's consideration, which they probably have on their own hook anyway, the thought that they take the initiative to try to settle the Open Meetings Act litigation the board's involved in. It's very likely that the parties that sued would settle simply for prevailing on two matters of principle, forego any other cost to the commissioners or county or the board itself. And it just seems, just from the outside, as a citizen living in the county, it seems to me that a concerted effort and goodwill, like I've seen here today, would probably set. Okay, for 25 cents, I'd settle this case by noon. So, but I encourage you to consider doing that. I think they'll settle with something you can live with real easy. Thank you.
Thank you, William.
Thank you, William.
Anything else? To the board? Meeting adjourned.
Yay!